So after we have our landscape set, and we'll talk about how this actual landscape condition at the bottom here connects. For now, you can choose to work on either one. I don't care whether or not you work on the one that's disconnected at the corner or the one that is a monolithic connection. But for your sake, it's probably cleaner if you work on the one that's monolithic, the one that has a connection at the corner. Okay, so I'm going to rename this layer here to, I'll just call it landscape. And then I'm going to make layer 2 building, for lack of a better term. And I'll pick something that I can really see clearly. I'm going to go with aquamarine. So let me just do a quick measurement to find out precisely how tall this building is. And that's important, or this landscape is. And that's important because then I need to actually use that as a way to measure the floors that I'm going to draw. So I'm going to primarily be working in the front view for now. So if you double click on the front view tag, it'll maximize it for you. And with project on, I'll do a distance command. I'm going to go from this top corner right there. I'm going to hover over the intersection right here and go across to, and if I hold shift, it'll be perpendicular to that intersection, and I'll click that. So I pulled it up to 26, about 26 3/4 feet, which is 26 feet 9 inches. So if we think about approximating how big a floor might be in a building, they're going to be anywhere from 10 to 15 feet, depending on what type of building it is. So for me, kind of approximating how my floors are going to bend going back and forth when I do a folded plane, I'm going to probably just estimate about halfway up this slope for my first floor. And then my second floor will come back up and it'll go across, and then I'll do another one at the very top. So what I'm going to do here is a 3-story building. Not everyone has exactly the same conditions, so they will look different. So when I do this, I want to make sure project is on. And I'm going to take a polyline, and I'm just going to start from the bottom here at the corner. So what I'm going to do here is use whole numbers to make it easy to kind of understand the approximate value of where I am. And I'm going to create sort of an S figure, and that's going to wind up looking something like this. If you have a landscape here, I'm going to take it from this point out, then I'm going to go up about halfway and go back until I meet that slope, and I'm going to go up again and out, and then up once more and back up to the next level. Okay, so we're all going to emulate something like that. You might only have one floor on the slope, and then you might have 2 floors on the top level. So I know this is 50 feet long, so I'm going to make this 40 feet and hold shift. And I also know that I've got 26, call it 27 feet to work with going vertically. So I'm going to go 13.5 feet up and then come all the way back. So now here's something that's very significant. As long as I have intersect turned on,
42 what?
it's different for you. I'm just saying that I'm talking through the logic of the decision-making process. So I know, like I said, I know I have 50 feet, so I can go 40 feet and still have a little bit of extra left. That should be the same for all of you. My slope is 26, almost 27 feet tall. So I just took about half of that and I typed it in at 13 and a half feet. So what is significant and will be the same for all of us is that when we come back, I want intersect to be turned on down here. When I have intersect turned on and I hold shift, it's going to pull me along the smart track, and I happen to have this midpoint. I hovered over this midpoint accidentally. So if I hold shift here and I go all the way down, don't snap to the midpoint necessarily, but hold shift and zoom in to a point where it says INT, and then you can click. So then my next step is, and this part is the same for all of you, to click at the top left corner. Then I'm going to go out again about 40 feet. And I'll go up again, but this time I'm just going to pick a whole number because I don't have a reference, so I did 15 feet. And now I'll go back again. I think I'll do 50 feet here. And then,
you don't have reference, so just up to us.
yeah, because I don't have a maximum height or something, so I just chose an even 15 feet. And it turns out I drew this on the wrong layer, so I'll put it on the building layer. And this is what you should have. The elements that are going to be the same, you'll start off with probably 40 feet here. You can change it. These aren't hard numbers. You don't have to. This will not be the same. The height here should be approximately half of your slope. Then you're going to go all the way back and intersect with your slope. Then you're going to trace the slope all the way up to the corner and come all the way out here. And then you're going to go up. I did 15 feet. You could do the same if you want. And then just make sure that you're going at least far enough to get across into the top level. So I'll pause here, and I want to see this view with your profile before we move on. What questions do you have? Okay, so going back into perspective here, I just want to get us to a point where we have an actual folded plane on top of our folded plane. And this part's really more intuitive. So if you use your Gumball, Gumball's pretty cool for this sort of thing, especially when you're just molding and sculpting. I'm just going to slide this curve back onto the surface a little bit, kind of like that. Okay, so it should kind of be sitting there, I don't know, a quarter of the way in, a third of the way in. And what I'm going to do is create a surface using the Gumball and pulling. But I always forget what the hotkeys actually are, so bear with me if I do it incorrectly here. I believe it is Control-Shift-Click. It is not. I always do that wrong. Select that, Control-Shift-Click. No. Keep grabbing. Where is it here? Control-Click. Shift, pull, no. Ah, hold on. Click, Control, Shift, pull. There it is. All right, it's click, and then Control and Shift, and then pull. Oh, I need to actually set this layer up. All right, so this one is really weird. Okay, you have to click the arrow first. Then you hold Control and Shift and you pull it. And that will actually create an extrusion for you instead of the extrude curve command. So when you select it, click the arrow that you want to extrude it along. Then, while you're holding it, Control and Shift, and then pull it across in the direction you want to make the extrusion, and then release. So I'm pretty sure that that's the only one that is that particular about the order in which you're doing your control shifts and stuff like that.
But when I click it asks.
Yes.
Does it like
I will.
Dimension.
Huh?
When I click it once, I'm asking for dimension.
That's because you single clicked. All right. Can I gather everyone's attention again? I'll explain it. So I'll show it again real quick. I'll put it on perspective here so you can really see. Select the curve. Gumball's on. And like I said, you click the arrow and hold it. Click and hold. Then hit Control and Shift. Hold them. And then pull it across. And when you release the mouse, it'll give you the extrusion. Now the other way to do it is, I think you can Control and Shift and single click. No, that didn't do it. I don't know. How did you do that?
You say click it, then keep it.
Oh, because you weren't doing the Control and Shift, right? You just single clicked and that's what you got, was what you see here?
Single click.
Okay.
And then
Yeah. So you gotta click and hold.
click and hold.
Okay. What other questions are there?
Was there a certain distance you moved it away from the
No.
from the corner where we started, or no?
No, there is no particular distance right now because we're gonna mold this like a sculpture, right? It's gonna be its own little thing depending on what decisions you want to make. Okay, so this is what you should have. I will come around and make sure that we're all troubleshooted here and that we've all got the folded plane on top of our site so that we can really begin to modify this.